This week's Hometown Happenings is brought to you by the Detroit Lakes School District.
Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here today at the Detroit Lakes School Administration Building. And we like to take some time and talk to folks from the school district, checking in with them and see how everything works. And today I'm here with somebody who really does make a lot of things work for the school district.
Thank you.
She's reached a milestone in her career, Colleen Schmit. And you've worked here in the district for 40 years.
40 years on March 24th.
Wow, and that's very cool. And you've been in the same position.
Same position, same building.
Different superintendents.
Yes.
Okay. So you're the assistant to the superintendent, the administrative assistant to the superintendent.
That is correct,
Okay.
right. And I'd just like to say that I have worked for 7 superintendents, so that's been very interesting. Every superintendent brings something special to the school board and to the school district. They all have their strengths, and it's been very interesting, and they have taught me a lot.
So who was the first superintendent you worked for?
Dr. Russell Carlson.
Okay.
And then, do you want me to
Yes,
read them
go
off?
ahead.
Okay.
Please
And
do.
then Robert Ness, and Dr. Robert Mielek, and then Lowell Nicholas, Mark Adams, and then I count Lowell again because he was interim superintendent. Then current superintendent Doug Froke.
Wow. Okay. I remember every one of them but the first one.
Okay.
So
you've been around.
I've been around here too. I'm not working here though, but
Right.
yeah. So that's quite interesting. So how did you start? I mean, what was your, obviously, when did you start? What was the year? 40 years ago.
Yes, yeah, right, in 1975.
Okay.
And I started out as receptionist / superintendent secretary. And the job changed so much because in the early years as a secretary, they would write, a letter and you would type it and that kind of thing. So now with every job, you increase your initiative and your helpfulness, and so you do a lot of writing, and you become more of a integral part of their position.
Well, that's the one thing too I wanted to talk to you really about too, is all the changes that you've seen through the 7 administrative posts, but
Right.
more through the years, and how even the technology that you're using. You started using the electric typewriter. Did you ever have a manual typewriter? No, in 1975 they were probably more electric typewriters.
We may have had some in the office, but I was fortunate to have an electric typewriter. And then I advanced to, we had a correcting selectric, and that was nice. And then we moved to a memory typewriter, but it would only remember like maybe 2 or 3 letters. So you always had to decide which letter am I going to delete, because I might have to go back to that one. Then we moved to word processing. And that was the real deal, because you could save things and it was so much easier. You could correct and that type of thing. And then now with the programs we have, I mean, there's spell check, there's, you can thesaurus and, suggestions.
Grammar check.
Grammar check. It's wonderful. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and well, that's interesting too, because I mean, I think you probably had to unlearn a lot more almost than you've had to learn, and
Definitely.
kind of keeping those habits and kind of moving ahead, which I think is interesting.
Right, and change. I don't like to say change is difficult. It's a little frustrating in the beginning, but change is always exciting, and I like the new technology advances and stuff like that. And I think in a job, when you're no longer willing to make the changes and accept the new technology, then maybe you're done. Maybe you're ready to go.
Well, was there any transition that was harder than the other?
I think not really. I think with every change there was a definite advantage. I think sometimes with change, there are a lot of people that have to accept the changes too. Like
Right.
We've gone to more and more electronic things, and it's training people, learning yourself, and then also helping other people and that type of thing. So.
Right. So it's so interesting to talk about that, and amazing that all the work that you do. I mean, I would say you specifically run the district.
Oh, thank you. I don't know about that.
I mean, it takes, Detroit Lakes touts its success with a great administration, and you are part of that. And I think you are one of the consistent threads throughout the years that have made the school district such a solid and strong district.
Well, and people have been so generous to me as far as teaching and thankful. I mean, many times I get emails, "Thank you, Colleen, so much." And over the years when you've been kind of there for them, there's a level of respect that I just appreciate so much.
Mm-hmm. So. I'm here with Colleen Schmit at the Detroit Lakes School Administration Building. She's celebrating 40 years in her career here at the district as the superintendent administrative assistant to the superintendent, and we're going to continue with our conversation after this. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings here at the Detroit Lakes School Administration Building with Colleen Schmit, who is the administrative assistant to the superintendent and has been for 40 years here in the district. And you don't come across many people who are at a job for 40 years, but it must be a great place to work.
It is a great place to work. I feel so fortunate that I've had this job for so long, and that it changes all the time, new people, new programs, and that type of thing. And I'm very thankful that even though I'm not in the classroom, I feel like I've been part of, supporting, educating children, which I'm very proud of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you do a lot of education of adults. You get them information, you get us the press, you send out packets. I mean, you actually used to send out the paper packets.
Right.
And now, obviously, electronic.
Everything online, yeah.
That's great. Yes. I might even be putting you on the spot, but who was your favorite superintendent to work for?
Oh, boy. I better say Doug Froke. No. But no, they all were wonderful to me. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right. Yeah. So I had to ask that question, but obviously you've had a good working experience with them.
Yes.
And I'm sure when they come in, you're probably the first person they ask the most questions to.
Right. They are, and sometimes I'm the only one around with the earlier ones, that they remember. So.
Uh-huh. All right. So, Colleen, now tell people actually, what are you do with the superintendent's position? And like I said, you get all the documents in, you get all the reports ready for people who request things.
Right. I prepare the agendas and get that, and that's there's information coming from all over the district to compile the board agendas, and I think probably the most important thing I do is, work with the school board and the agendas and that type of thing. And then there's correspondence. There's, Doug has a very busy schedule. And so just arranging his schedule and setting up meetings and that type of thing. And then, there are other portions, with everyone, you have many other jobs, and working with the employees and, their time off and, questions about their contract and that type of thing. So.
Wow, this woman probably invented multitasking too.
Yes, they did, yes.
You did that specifically. Well, I want to thank you so much for the work that you do, because I personally have dealt with all of your work and getting the information, timely information to people. So I want to thank you for your job and the great work that you do.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Colleen Schmit here at the Detroit Lakes School Administration Building. She's the woman behind the scenes. I would say she's the Wizard of Oz here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Detroit Lakes School District, and thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For Hometown Happenings, I'm Carol McCarthy.